Part 8. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Dit. Chapter 71. Xuanhuan Li, you were very young back then. Fast forward so many years, and you have become an old guy. It's a pity that your cultivation level is slightly inferior. Ye Chen commented with a smile. Xuanhuan Li frowned secretly. Who is this person? Judging from Ye Chen's tone, when he was still very young, Ye Chen was already a strong man of the older generation. Who are you? Xuanhuan Li said in a deep voice. More strong men from the back mountain gathered around, but they didn't dare to act rashly. Ye Chen said amusedly, Xuanhuan Li, why are you asking these little guys to come over and tickle me with their little strength? You can give it a try. Your cultivation level is slightly inferior. Let's see if your real combat power is higher than your cultivation level. Xuanhuan Li sent the message to the others, and immediately the other strong men formed a powerful formation around them. Fellow Taoist, if you don't identify yourself and express your intention, Luo will be offended. Xuanhuan Li said in a deep voice. Ye Chen chuckled and said, Xuanhuan Li, don't worry and take action boldly. After all, after becoming old friends, I won't do anything to you as a big bully. Xuanhuan Li raised his eyebrows. Let him take action, the other party will be crazy. Kill. Xuanhuan Li takes action. The roar of the dragon sounded, the Jinglong sword came out, and Xuanhuan Li's sword was in front of Ye Chen in an instant. This sword looks ordinary. There was no powerful aura coming out. But in fact, Xuanhuan Li's sword was all the power gathered at one point. Boom! The tip of the sword came in front of Ye Chen, but Ye Chen didn't dodge at all. On Ye Chen's body surface, a faint light curtain appeared. The extremely violent sword intent burst out crazily. This sword is enough to level a 10,000-meter mountain. Xuanhuan Li's cultivation at the 3rd level of the Great Emperor has the attack power of the 4th level Emperor with the help of the shocking dragon sword. However, Ye Chen didn't move at all, and the light of the defensive shield only trembled slightly. That's it? Ye Chen frowned slightly. He put his hands behind his back and looked at Xuanhuan Li with some dissatisfaction, seeming to be disappointed with Xuanhuan Li's performance. Xuanhuan Li, your cultivation is not good, but your combat power is average. Whether it was your strongest sword just now, you can take another shot and see if it's yours. Xuanhuan Li took a deep breath, and thrust out his 2nd and 3rd swords one after another. Boom! Boom! The sounds of 2 attacks sounded at almost the same time. Combos, stronger attack power. But facing Ye Chen's powerful defense, it was useless. Qi Yu's armor is enough to withstand the full force of 30 Emperor-level attacks. If the person who takes the shot is strong and weak at the Emperor level, or does not take the shot with all his strength, he will be able to block more times. With the strength of Xuanhuan Li, there will be no problem 180 times. Xuanhuan Li, it seems that you have used up your energy by staying here all these years, otherwise your strength should be stronger. Ye Chen said with some regret. Xuanhuan Li was shocked. He tried his best to strike 3 swords, but they had no effect at all. Senior, juniors are often offended. Xuanhuan Li bowed. He judged that Ye Chen must be a person above the 7th level of the Great Emperor. It is impossible for a strong man at the 5th or 6th level of the Great Emperor to be so relaxed. You don't have to call yourself a junior. At any rate, you have a level of cultivation at the level of an emperor, so there will be no problem in making friends with your peers. Ye Chen waved his hand and said. Xuanhuan Li is the ancestor of the royal family. What will he do if his seniors find out about his situation in the future? Yes, fellow Taoist. Fellow Taoist, you don't know why you are here? Xuanhuan Li asked. Luo Hanjian is not here now and has taken away some strong men. When Ye Chen comes over, he is very suspicious. I promised someone else back then, and the emperor will not come here until I am here. Now that the Empress is not here, I'll come and take a look. Don't worry, I have no ill intentions towards you, otherwise your kid would have fallen to the ground by now. Ye Chen looked emotional. He said as he walked up the mountain, Luo Wanli followed, and the other strong men followed behind. They didn't stop. Not long after, Ye Chen arrived at the demon-suppressing tower. Luo Wanli, I have something to do and I want to go into the demon-suppressing tower. Do you have any objections? Luo Wanli frowned secretly. Of course he has an opinion. Great opinions. Is the demon suppression tower a place where anyone can enter casually? But Ye Chen was not injured in 3 attempts, and other strong men might not be able to defeat Ye Chen. If a fight breaks out and the demons in the demon suppression tower are released, all life will be ruined. Fellow Taoist, are you trying to release the demon inside? Luo Wanli frowned. Ye Chen chuckled and said, Luo Wanli, if I want to let the monsters out, do I need to talk to you so much? Luo Wanli took a deep breath. Fellow Taoist, you can enter, but please be careful. Ye Chen nodded slightly. Luo Wanli opened a small portal. Ye Chen stepped to the side in a void, and easily entered through the portal opened by Luo Wanli. System, sign in 3 times. He said immediately as soon as he entered the demon suppressing tower. The demon suppression tower is a rare opportunity, so use all 3 opportunities. Sign into the demon suppression tower and get an SS level reward enhancement card, which can enhance the S level reward into an SS level reward. Ye Chen was extremely excited. I actually got an SS level enhancement card. This is a good thing, a super good thing. He can make his physique or skills stronger. This is related to the speed at which his cultivation level increases. Sign into the demon suppression tower and get an S level reward, mastery of emperor level formations, and master all formations below the saint level. Ye Chen wanted to laugh out loud. Another good thing. Although he now has the strength of the 9th level of the Divine Emperor, he does not understand formations. Even for ordinary formations, Ye Chen can only use brute force to break them. Now I feel comfortable with this reward. Sign into the demon suppression tower and get an A-level reward, a marrow cleansing pill, which has a strong effect on people with low cultivation, but a low effect on people with high cultivation. The third sign-in was so-so. The A-level marrow cleansing pill is of little use to me, and it is also of no use to Hanjian, but Chang'e will benefit a lot if he uses it. Ye Chen said in his heart. Roar. Just then, a demon noticed the abnormality on Ye Chen's side. The other party quickly pounced on Ye Chen. Humph. Ye Chen snorted lightly, and he sacrificed the demon refining pot. The breath from the demon refining pot made the demon that was close to it retreat instantly. It felt that if it entered the demon refining pot, it would surely die. Let's go. Ye Chen quickly reached the outside world using the floating light and shadow body skill, and Luo Wanli quickly led the opened portal. He secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Ye Chen seemed to have done nothing after entering. He saw a demon rushing towards Ye Chen, and Ye Chen just frightened it away. Daiyu, I feel that the demons in the demon suppression tower are becoming more and more restless. I wonder if you have any solution. Luo Wanli said. System, equip the Emperor level formation mastery. Ye Chen said silently. Instantly, a large amount of information poured into Ye Chen's mind. Originally, he thought that the formation on the back mountain was unfathomable, but now it seems ordinary. First, repair the broken formation on your side. Ye Chen said lightly, and he passed a lot of information to Luo Wanli. Luo Wanli can improve the formation here a lot based on this information. The demon suppression tower can be more stable. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Di. Chapter 72. So strong. Just looking around, I found so many loopholes in our formation. This senior's strength is really unfathomable. Luo Wanli was shocked. Originally he had some doubts about Ye Chen, but now those doubts were thrown out of the window. After leaving the back mountain, Ye Chen did not go directly to Fengming Palace. He left the palace. Luo Wanli is a powerful man at the level of an emperor, so it would not be good for Luo Wanli to find out that he went to Fengming Palace. What to upgrade? Ye Chen thought. As an S-level reward, the things he wanted to upgrade most were the 89 mysterious techniques and the Sun Divine Body. Either of these two upgrades can make his training speed much faster. There is a difference between the two. If the Sun God Body is upgraded and his physique is improved, his cultivation level should immediately increase. Now that he has cultivated to the 5th level of the God Emperor, it is certain that he will rise to the 6th level of the God Emperor. Maybe you can go directly to the 7th level of the God Emperor. His strength can reach the level of an Emperor immediately. Beijiu Xiangong is a skill. Upgrading the skill will not increase his strength immediately, but the normal improvement effect of Beijiu Xiangong is better. The Sun God Body has no effect at night, and the effect will be weakened on cloudy days. In the long run, it will be better to upgrade the 8-9 mysterious skills. But Han Jian has now gone to the frontier. If her short-term strength reaches the level of the Great Emperor, Han Jian can rush over to help faster if necessary. Ye Chen murmured to himself. He thought about it carefully and decided to upgrade the Sun God Body first. Let's talk about the 8-9 mysterious skills later. It is more important to be stronger in the short term. System: use the strengthening card to strengthen the Sun Body. The Sun Divine Body has been successfully strengthened and upgraded to the SS level Yin Yang Holy Body. The body can be improved day and night, the ultimate saint. The system sounded, and Ye Chen felt earth-shaking changes taking place in his body. There used to be only powerful pure Yang power in the body, but now powerful pure Yin power is rapidly growing. Under the influence of the power of Yin and Yang, Ye Chen's body and soul quickly became stronger. In 2 minutes, Ye Chen's cultivation reached the 6th level of the God Emperor. After walking around the street for half an hour, Ye Chen's cultivation level had reached the 7th level of the God Emperor. Finally here. But I guess I can only reach the 7th level of the God Emperor. Ye Chen murmured in his heart. He felt that the speed of his cultivation level improvement was close to normal. However, with the SS level Yin Yang Holy Body, the normal state can now be improved much faster than before. System: can I equip the immortal killing sword now? Ye Chen asked in his mind. In terms of cultivation, he is not good enough. In terms of strength, he is already at the level of a great emperor. The 2nd level of the great emperor. This kind of strength is still weaker than Luo Wanli, but it is already very strong. In the entire Tianyuan dynasty, Luo Wanli is an emperor-level strongman on the surface, but it is not clear whether there is Ye Chen secretly. The royal family should not have it. Maybe there is such an old antique hidden among the people. Cannot be equipped, excluding the Ruyi golden cudgel. Host: you do not have the strength of an emperor. The combat power of the Ruyi golden cudgel below the great emperor is increased by 3 small realms, and the great emperor level is increased by 2 small realms. When Ye Chen does not use the Ruyi golden cudgel, he is at the 9th level of the God Emperor. After using it, he is at the 2nd level of the great emperor. Is this so? Ye Chen frowned slightly. He felt a little regretful. If he can use the Xuxian sword now, his strength will definitely reach the 3rd level of the great emperor. Sir, would you like to come in and take a look? Tonight our top star in Tianxian Tower, Miss Minjiao, will perform on stage. Ye Chen walked and came to a magnificent building, and many young masters entered it. The sound of melodious music came from inside. We actually got here. Ye Chen looked up and saw that the signboard of Tianxian Tower was very big and bright. Tianxian Tower is the first brothel in Tianyuan Imperial City. The quality of the women there is very high. Some women don't sell their bodies when it comes to their art. Miss Minjiao from Tianxian Tower is ranked 7th on the 9 Heavens Beauty list. She just entered the list last year and is exactly 20 this year. Since Miss Minjiao joined Tianxianlu has instantly secured its throne as the number 1 brothel. The Juxiao beauty list has a great reputation. The women on the list are all stunning, and among the top 10 in the Juxiao beauty list, they are even more stunning among the stunning. After Miss Minjiao joined Tianxian Tower, the business of Tianxian Tower increased several times. Many young men and young masters are extremely generous in order to meet Miss Minjiao. Don't watch it, there's nothing interesting to see. Ye Chen shook his head. If it were another time, he might enter the Tianxian Tower to have a look. Everyone has the love for beauty. But now it may be dangerous for Luo Hongjian to go to the border. It is not appropriate for him to enter the Tianxian Tower to see beautiful women. Sir, Miss Minjiao rarely performs in public. If you miss it, you don't know when the next time will be. The woman in front of Ye Chen continued to solicit enthusiastically. Ye Chen was about to refuse again when a carriage drove over. Sidu Yan and Sidu Ren actually got out of the carriage and were greeted by Luo Yuanliang in the Tianxian Tower. Sidu Yan and the others have changed their appearance. People who are not familiar with them can't recognize them, but Ye Chen can. With Ye Chen's cultivation level, even if they dress up as women, Ye Chen can accurately determine their identities. Brothers, my brother has arrived and is waiting inside. Please. Luo Yuanliang said with a smile. Ye Chen's heart moved. There should be only one person Luo Yuanliang calls his brother, and that is Luo Yuanmu. Prince Luo Yuanmu actually met in secret with Sidu Yan and the others at Tianxian Tower. Luo Yuanmu's identity was sensitive, and it was taboo for him to come into contact with Tai Weidong or the prince of the vassal like Sidu Yan. Since this opportunity is rare, I will go in and take a look. Ye Chen changed his mind and entered the Tianxian Tower behind Luo Yuanliang and the others. There are already many young masters in Tianxian Tower. There are many tables in the hall. Even the table in the worst position has a minimum consumption of 50 taels of silver. Enough for ordinary household expenses for 1 or 2 years. Good guy, half of the important officials in the court have juniors here, and there are also a lot of royal family members. Ye Chen glanced around and saw 2 ministers who could enter the Tianji Palace. Both were disguised. That's just the lobby. There is also a VIP room upstairs. Luo Yuanliang and the others went upstairs and entered one of the VIP rooms. The attractiveness of Miss Minjiao is really extraordinary. Ye Chen secretly thought. This is normal. Luo Hongjian ranks first on the list of beauties in Juxiao. He is not particularly interested in other women, but others are different. Miss Minjiao also ranks high on the Juxiao beauty list. And if the money is in place, maybe you can become Miss Minjiao's guest. Prince Sidu, long time no see. Ye Chen found a seat near Luo Yuanliang and the VIP room and sat down, and soon he heard Luo Yuanmu's voice. The sound insulation effect of the VIP room was excellent, but it couldn't stand up to Ye Chen's high cultivation level. Ye Chen was also very close now, less than 20 meters. Prince Mu, it's been a long time indeed. A few years ago, I thought you, Prince Mu, would ascend the throne as emperor, but I didn't expect that the supreme emperor would let a woman named Luo Hongjian succeed to the throne. Sidu Yan said with emotion. He called Luo Hongjian by name and made his attitude clear to Luo Yuanmu immediately. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Did. Chapter 73. Luo Yuanmu greeted Sidu Yan and the others to sit down. Your Majesty, my sister has ascended the throne as emperor. Let's not talk about this anymore. Let's talk about Ye Chen. Luo Yuanmu said calmly. Of course he wanted the throne, but it was not appropriate to talk about competing for the throne with Xuanhuan and the others. We haven't seen each other for a few years, so the relationship needs to be developed slowly. Xuanhuan nodded. Speaking of Yechen, he felt sad in his balls. He has to beg Yechen once every month, otherwise he won't be able to be a man. Since being recruited, Xuanhuan has secretly sought help from many doctors, but the problem has still not been solved. Prince Mu, you said before that we should cooperate to deal with Yechen. Our Sidu family has no problem with this, but I don't want to kill him, but to capture him alive. Xuanhuan said in a deep voice. How can you solve your own problems by killing Yechen? If he fails to become a man, he will not be able to keep his position as the heir apparent. Catch alive. Luo Yuanmu frowned slightly. Your Majesty, it is much more difficult to capture Yechen alive than to kill him. Xuanhuan took a sip of tea and said, Prince Mu, Yechen only has an acquired level of cultivation, there shouldn't be much difference between capturing him alive and killing him. Deceive him out of Tianyang Emperor's palace, can't we succeed if we both work together? Yechen is just an emperor and empress after all. He will have far fewer strong men to protect him when he leaves the palace. Luo Yuanmu was silent for a while and said, Your Majesty, are you going to capture Yechen alive and take him away from Tianyang Imperial City? Nature. Xuanhuan nodded. Yechen is here in Tianyang Imperial City and can easily be found by the powerful members of the royal family. Prince Mu, it is a shame for His Majesty that the Emperor and Empress are captured, and it will be a lasting shame. It is better than killing him directly. Luo Yuanmu tapped his fingers lightly on the table, which was true. If killed directly, the impact will only be temporary. If the Empress is captured, the impact will be long-lasting, and it will be a serious blow to Luo Hongjian's prestige. Ken. Luo Yuanmu agreed. If he wants to obtain the throne, he needs the support of the Sidu family, and cooperation needs a good entry point. Dealing with Yechen together is a good entry point. Prince Mu, our Sidu family will have more powerful people. You should have an idea on how to trick Yechen out. Xuanhuan smiled. Luo Yuanmu nodded. Yechen's eyes flickered. Luo Yuanmu and Xuanhuan were actually planning to jointly target him. If he really only has the acquired level of cultivation, and Luo Hongjian is not in Tianyang Imperial City now, they have a high chance of success. Time passed by, and Yechen wanted to hear them talk about how to trick him out of the Imperial Palace. Luo Yuanmu and the others stopped talking and started chatting about romance. Everyone, please be quiet. Miss Minjia will perform on stage soon. If Miss Minjia plays well, I hope all the gentlemen and young masters will generously reward you. Yang Yuer, the general manager of Tianxian Tower, stood up and raised his voice. She is already in her 50s or 60s, but her cultivation is good. She looks only in her 30s, and her charm is still there. Yang Yuer has extraordinary means. Tianxian Tower was not even ranked among the top 10. Within 10 years after she became the general manager, Tianxian Tower not only became the #1 brothel, but also firmly occupied the throne of the #1 brothel. Tianxian Tower's annual profits are tens of millions of taels. Hearing Yang Yuer's voice, the Tianxian building quickly became quiet, and everyone looked at a pavilion on the second floor. A wonderful figure walked into the pavilion. Is this Miss Minjia? It really lives up to its reputation. Yechen muttered in his heart that Miss Minjia was wearing a veil, but the thin veil could not block Yechen's gaze. The woman who entered the pavilion was indeed beautiful. Yechen had never seen such a beautiful woman in his previous life. Of course I see it often in this life. Miss Minjia's appearance is already excellent, but compared with Luo Hongjian, she is still a little behind. In particular, Miss Minjia's temperament is much worse than that of Luo Hongjian. Luo Hongjian is the empress after all, who can compare to her in terms of temperament? If scored on a 100-point scale, Minjiao girl Yechen could give her a score of 99 points, and Luo Hanjian could give her a score of 111. My daughter-in-law is so beautiful. Yechen's pupils narrowed. He had just noticed Miss Minjiao's appearance, but now he suddenly realized that Miss Minjiao's cultivation was very high. Luo Hanjian is the empress, with excellent resources and imperial energy support. She is now only at the 8th level of a god king. Miss Minjiao is a brothel girl, but she also has a god king level of cultivation. The 3rd level of the god king. Miss Minjiao is only 20 years old. She is 3 years younger than Luo Hanjian. With Miss Minjiao's talent, it is entirely possible to improve to 2 or 3 smaller realms in 3 years. Good guy, it's interesting to be a 3rd level god king and hide in a brothel. Yechen sneered in his heart, this girl Minjiao definitely has another hidden identity, and it is very unusual. In the entire Tianyang dynasty, there are only a few dozen god emperor level experts. A god king level figure is already a super master. Is it necessary for Miss Minjiao to become a brothel girl? Without a strong background, it is unlikely that even a highly talented 20-year-old can achieve such a level of cultivation. It's easy for brothels to gain access to powerful people. Yechen's eyes flickered, and he already had a guess that this girl Minjiao was most likely a spy. Even the entire Tianxian Tower has problems. After all, although Miss Minjiao attracted many dignitaries to Tianxian Tower, she usually had little contact with dignitaries. Many dignitaries who came to Tianxian Tower were received by other women in Tianxian Tower. I have the strength of the great emperor now, and I ignored it at the first time. Even if a strong man of the 9th level of the divine emperor came, he might not know that Miss Minjiao was a divine king. Yechen thought to himself. Miss Minjiao is very good at hiding. The skills she practiced should be good at hiding, and she has special treasures on her body. Dear guests, Minjiao is here to perform. Miss Minjiao sat in front of an ancient zither, and her gentle voice came from the pavilion. The pleasant sound of the zither soon sounded. Yechen listened for a while and judged that Miss Minjiao's zither skills had reached the master level. After the song ended, many young masters applauded excitedly. Such a stunning woman, even if she is just a vase, can make many people crazy, not to mention that she has such superb zither skills. At the age of 20, the master level piano art is already very impressive. She is not like Yechen, who is a cheater. In her lifetime, with Miss Minjiao's talent, she is likely to reach the god level. Come on, I will reward Miss Minjiao with 500 taels. This young master will reward Miss Minjiao with 1000 taels. Miss Minjiao, here, I will reward you with 3000 taels. Many young masters shouted, trying to attract Miss Minjiao's attention through large rewards. Miss Minjiao stood up and bowed. Minjiao thanks all the young masters for your kindness. With the moon as the theme, if any young master can write a poem that makes Minjiao very satisfied, Minjiao can drink and enjoy the moon with him. Suddenly everyone became more excited. Many young talents who claimed to be talented were so excited that their faces flushed. They can't compete with money. They may have a chance with poetry. In the VIP room, Sidu Ren's eyes also lit up. He is very good at poetry. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Dit. Chapter 74. Yechen sneered in his heart. While drinking and admiring the moon, everyone must be thinking about other activities later. But with Minjiao girl's god king level cultivation, can she allow others to take advantage of this? If she really sacrificed her body, the person she lost her virginity to must be of extremely noble status. Thinking of this, Yechen frowned secretly. Listening to some other people's comments, Miss Minjiao has never given such an opportunity before. This is the first time today. Prince Mu may have come secretly before, but Sidu Yan and Sidu Ren have not been here before. Isn't Miss Minjiao going for them? Such thoughts came to Ye Chen's mind. Soon Ye Chen suddenly smiled. He must have thought too much. There were many talented young people present, and there were also many people who were good at poetry. Do Sidu Yan and the others have the ability to win first place? We are not blind, so if there is a significant difference in quality, you will definitely be able to tell. My dear young masters, please give me a stick of incense for a limited time only. Let's see which young master writes poems quickly and well. Miss Minjiao said in a soft voice. After she finished speaking, Kuo Xiao, a fat-headed and big-eared young man, immediately stood up and shouted, Miss Minjiao, I have it. The moon looks bigger when you look at it from a distance, and it looks bigger when you look up close. The moon is really big, the moon is really big. Ye Chen was drinking tea and almost spit out the tea when he heard this guy's poem. Ha ha! Young Master Qian is really good at poetry. Some of the others laughed heartily. The corner of Miss Minjiao's mouth twitched. She dared to read such a poem in public. What a talent! Praise, prize, prize, what do you think of Miss Minjiao? Qian Xiao said proudly, this guy still thinks his poem is very good. Miss Minjiao said, Master Qian, wait a moment, time has just begun. Minjiao will listen to the poems of the others. Some people had written poems describing the moon before, but others stepped forward one after another. Ye Chen shook his head secretly, his level was average. If someone has written a great poem, 9 times out of 10 it will have been spread. Composing new poems in class, time is short and it is difficult to produce good ones. Ye Chen was ready to leave. It is easy to be discovered if he leaves the palace for too long. At this moment, the window of Prince Mu's VIP room opened. Sidu Ren came to the window. He opened his mouth and read out a 5-character quatrain. The quality was quite good. An imperceptible smile appeared on Miss Minjiao's face. Ye Chen narrowed his eyes. He had a sharp eye and noticed the smile on Miss Minjiao's face. This is not normal. If Miss Minjiao only did this deliberately to get attention and attract popularity, she probably didn't want anyone to write good poems. If the poems that come out are relatively ordinary, she can reject them all. Everyone can understand it. Sidu Ren's poem is quite good. If Miss Minjiao refuses like this, everyone will be unhappy. Miss Minjiao's target is really Sidu Yan and the others. This is the secret joy of a fish taking the bait. Ye Chen murmured in his heart that with Minjiao girl's God King level cultivation, she must have already known the identities of Sidu Ren and the others. Everyone, I'll give you 1 stick of incense right away. If there's nothing better, I'll accept it. Sidu Ren said proudly, with an eager look in his eyes. With his status, ordinary beauties can easily be possessed, but Miss Minjiao is not an ordinary beauty. Although she has not been able to become Luo Hongjian's imperial concubine for the time being, in Sidu Ren's opinion, it would be good to get a beauty like Miss Minjiao first. Young master, this poem is indeed good. Young masters, do you have any better masterpieces? Miss Minjiao said loudly that she was in a good mood and caught a big fish easily. Ye Chen frowned secretly. Miss Minjiao was probably a spy. Sidu Ren's identity was unusual. God knows what would happen if Sidu Ren won. Luo Hongjian is not here now. If there is something special, Wei Yutang and the others may not be able to handle it. Miss Minjiao, listen to me. Ye Chen stood up. Sidu Ren looked sharply at Ye Chen. The individual guests in the hall actually dared to argue with him at this time. They were overestimating their abilities. Miss Minjiao smiled and said, Sir, please tell me. She didn't think Ye Chen's poems would be better. She was sure to catch Sidu Ren, the big fish. After joining Tianxian Tower for more than a year, the fish pond is getting bigger and bigger, and there are more and more fish in it. It's time to start fishing. Sidu Ren is the first but will not be the last. Sidu Ren said calmly, Friend, please don't read out bad poems. It's embarrassing. Yachen still stood up at this time, which made him unhappy. Yachen took a sip of tea and said loudly, "The bright moonlight in front of the bed seems like frost on the ground. Look up at the bright moon and lower your head to miss your hometown." Puff. When Yachen's poem came out, some people couldn't help laughing. Many people looked strangely in their eyes. Why does this poem sound a little inappropriate? Tisk tisk, what a poem, what a poem. The girl in front of the bed has no clothes on and her skin is like snow. When I look up at the girl, I can still think of the yellow-faced woman in my hometown. Not bad. Someone was whispering to the friend next to him. In the pavilion, Miss Minjia frowned slightly. If Yachen thinks about this poem in an unhealthy direction, it makes sense, she wants to hit someone. But if you don't think so, this poem is enough to be passed down to the world. Sidhu Ren's face was livid. He was a famous talent, so naturally it was impossible for him to understand it in such a vulgar way. In comparison, he knew that his poems were far inferior to the others. "Young master, great talent, Minjia admires you." Ms. Minjia's eyes flashed coldly. "There are so many people present today, Yachen's poem will definitely spread. It will have a bad impact on her reputation. Although she is in a brothel, Miss Minjia does not think she is a real brothel girl." Humph. Sidhu Ren snorted coldly and closed the window. Yachen made him very unhappy and made him want to kill. "Young master, Minjia is waiting for you in the Yuya pavilion. Tonight is a good time to enjoy the moon." Ms. Minjia left, and someone from Tianxian building quickly came to Yachen's side. "Young master, please follow me, I will take you to the Yuya pavilion. You are so envious of others that you can drink and enjoy the moon with Miss Minjia." Yachen stood up and walked slowly to the Yuya pavilion in the envious and jealous eyes of many people. "Find out his identity." More than one person gave the order. If Yachen has no background and still sleeps here tonight, they want Yachen to die. The Yuya pavilion is in the backyard of the Tianxian building, and the surrounding environment is beautiful. When Yachen arrived, the wine and food were already served in the Yuya pavilion. Miss Minjia took off her veil, and her face was extremely beautiful when viewed from a close distance, with almost no flaws. Such a woman can be said to be a masterpiece of the creator. "Mister, your poem really makes Minjia love and hate it." Miss Minjia spoke, her voice was a bit resentful, and her eyes seemed to have magic. "Put away your charm." Yachen said indifferently, and as he spoke, a powerful formation was formed around him instantly. The formation level reached the level of God King. With Yachen's current strength and his attainments in formation, this level of formation can be cast instantly. The formation isolates sound and sight, and also prevents Miss Minjia from escaping from the Yuya pavilion. Mister, what do you mean? Minjia doesn't understand." Miss Minjia said in fear. She noticed the powerful formation that appeared instantly around her. "As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible." Author, New Di. Chapter 75. Immediately setting up a God King level formation, Minjia girl judged that Yachen must have a God King level strength. And he is good at formations. Information about many God Emperor level powerhouses from the Tianyan dynasty popped up in her mind. Who is Yachen? Don't think about escaping, just sit down. Yachen sat down and said softly. Miss Minjia poured Yachen a glass of wine uneasily, but there was no poison in the wine. Miss Minjia, you are a 20-year-old God King with a third-level cultivation, and you are still a master of piano music. You are a genius among geniuses. Yachen drank a glass of wine and said quietly. Miss Minjia's body trembled, and her own cultivation was indeed seen through by the other party. But why? The skills she practices are special, and she also has powerful treasures. It would be difficult for a strong person at the 9th level of the God Emperor to see through her true cultivation. Tell me about your origins and what you are doing here in Tianyan Imperial City. Don't treat me as a fool, or I will destroy your cultivation and make you truly a brothel girl. Ye Chen looked indifferent. In this life, he was originally from the Tianyang dynasty, and now he is the empress. My wife is an empress. If Miss Minjia was a spy, what she did might lead to the destruction of his family. Miss Minjia was frightened. Ye Chen looks young, but he is a powerful man at the level of a god emperor and is also extremely skilled in formations. Ye Chen should be an old monster. What can such an old monster do? She may be able to seduce young people, but she definitely has no such ability to seduce old monsters. Senior, behind me is the Bio Empire. I was trained by the Bio Empire since I was a child. I entered Tianyang Imperial City because I wanted to make friends with some powerful people and obtain some confidential information. Miss Minjia said honestly. She knew that in front of a powerful god emperor level expert, there was a high chance that her lies would be seen through. Ye Chen's eyes sparkled. The Bio Empire is located to the southwest of the Tianyang Empire. The territory of the Southwest King is also in the southwest, bordering the territory of the Bio Empire. Miss Minjia's first target is Sidu Ren. It would be better if the fish caught was not Sidu Ren but the Prince Sidu Yan. The Bio Empire wants to win over the Sidu family and split the Tianyang dynasty. Ye Chen said calmly. Miss Minjia shook her head. Senior, I don't know about this. My task is very simple. It is to attract more powerful people here and personally deal with some of the top powerful people. There are other sisters in charge of the ordinary powerful and powerful Tianxian Tower. Senior, if you let me go, I can be a double agent and find out the rest of the information for you, Senior. Besides, Senior, I am still clean now. Miss Minjia said as her skirt slowly slipped down. Stop. Ye Chen said coldly. With Miss Minjia's appearance, it would be nonsense to say that he has no idea about Miss Minjia's body. He is not that kind of a gentleman. But now my daughter-in-law is going to the border to fight, and it's outrageous for him to sleep with other women here. Senior, what do you think? Miss Minjia stopped her clothes from slipping, and secretly breathed a sigh of relief in her heart. She didn't act so casual. Although she is in a brothel, she does not think of herself as a brothel girl in her heart. Get dressed. Ye Chen said softly. Miss Minjia's clothes had slipped a little, and it was a bit unbearable to look at. Have one. A small jade bottle appeared in Ye Chen's hand. There were 10 pills in the jade bottle. Miss Minjia, this bottle of elixir is a heart-eating demon elixir. If you eat 10 of them together, it will be enough to kill a strong man in the 9th level of the God Emperor. If you eat 1 pill every year, you will suffer for a quarter of an hour but you won't die. If you eat all 10 pills, there will be a lot of benefits. Miss Minjia showed fear in her eyes, but she still took the initiative to pour out a pill. Gilug. The elixir was immediately eaten by Miss Minjia, and it was absorbed by her body in a very short time. Ah! In less than 5 seconds, Minjia girl covered her heart and screamed in agony. She felt as if there were billions of bugs eating at her heart. Ye Chen collected the elixir bottle and drank and ate food leisurely. The food and wine in Tianxian Tower was not bad. A quarter of an hour passed, and Miss Minjia seemed to have just been fished out of the water. The thin skirt on her body was soaked with sweat and clung tightly to her body. Nice figure. But you'd better clean up the sweat on your body quickly. Ye Chen looked at Miss Minjia and said. Miss Minjia took a deep breath to calm down. White air came out of her body during the exercise, and she was dry in half a minute. Miss Minjia, this elixir just now is worth a lot of money, and the entire set of elixirs is worth 100,000 gold. I hope you will not disappoint me in the future. Ye Chen said softly. This bottle of elixir is a B-level reward. Ye Chen had obtained it a few months ago, and he had no chance to use it before he was in the palace. In terms of cultivation, Miss Minjia only has the 3rd level of cultivation of the God King, so she is not worthy of using such an elixir, but with her talent and appearance, it is still worth it? Yes, senior. Miss Minjio lowered her head and said, her face still a little pale. The last quarter of an hour was so uncomfortable. Ye Chen said, if you work honestly, you will only be in pain for a quarter of an hour every year. If you don't obey and don't get follow-up pills, the pain will continue until you die. Ms. Minjio said bitterly, Senior, what information do you want to know? Ye Chen said, mainly the information of the Baiyu Empire and the Situ family. You can handle the rest. After that, Ye Chen got up and left. Many people saw Ye Chen leave, and they secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Ye Chen did not sleep here. Miss Minjio should have simply invited Ye Chen to drink and enjoy the moon. But not long after Ye Chen left Tianxian building, he was still stopped by someone. Friend, our young master invites you to come over and talk about something. The man who stopped Ye Chen said in a deep voice. Lead the way. Ye Chen said lightly, this man is most likely Situ Ren's subordinate. Following this man, Ye Chen arrived at a nearby inn and entered the guest room on the top floor. Situ Ren was indeed in the room. Friend, what is your origin? If you have one, please tell me clearly. If not, you may have a bloody disaster today. Situ Ren sneered, playing with a dagger in his hand. If Ye Chen hadn't messed with him, he thought he might have fought Miss Minjio for 300 rounds. Ye Chen frowned and said, I don't have any background, but it's just a small matter, why are you so angry? You are also a scholar, why bother with knives and guns? No background. Situ Ren stood up, his face showing cruelty, you dare to ruin my good deeds without any background. Dang. The dagger was thrown to the ground by Situ Ren. Boy, don't blame me for not giving you a chance, you cut your tongue and castrate yourself, you can live. Ye Chen's eyes flashed with cold light, since you said so, my conditions are the same, you can live if you cut your tongue and castrate yourself. What did you say? Situ Ren suspected that he had heard it wrong. Warm reminder, if you find that clicking the next page will force you to jump to other websites, please use the chapter error or contact us at the bottom to inform us, we will deal with it as soon as possible, thank you for your understanding. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Dit. Chapter 76. Ye Chen snorted, Situ Ren, you are so young, why are your ears still not good? Or maybe you need to clear your head. Having said this, Ye Chen instantly approached and raised his hand to give him 2 slaps. Crack. Crack. Situ Ren was completely stunned. Given his status and strength, he was actually slapped. Stop. Court death. There were 2 of Situ Ren's men in the room. They were furious and instantly drew their swords and slashed at Ye Chen fiercely. 2 people, one on the left and one on the right. One slashed towards Ye Chen's left arm, and the other slashed towards Ye Chen's right arm. Snort. Ye Chen snorted softly. 2 forces instantly entered the bodies of Situ Ren and his 2 men. Their cultivation was directly destroyed by Ye Chen. Clang. Their cultivation was crippled, and the swords in their hands fell to the ground. Their swords weighed over 1,000 kilograms. No, no. Situ Ren's 2 men were pale, and they screamed in despair. Their cultivation was abolished and they grew old rapidly. Every time you take a breath, you age by 10 years. Originally, the 2 of them looked only 30 or 40 years old, but their actual ages were 100 or 200 years old. They had Yangshen level cultivation and could have lived to be over 500 years old at most. It's not a big problem to compromise on living to be 300 years old. Now that their cultivation has been abolished, The energy in their bodies cannot support their bodies and can only consume their vitality at an extremely rapid rate. You. Sidu Ren was horrified. He watched helplessly as his 2 men died of old age quickly. Less than half a minute. Sidu Ren wanted to escape, but he didn't dare. His talent is quite good, and with sufficient resources, he also has Yangshan level cultivation. But he judged that the powerful people in front of him should be more than the king of gods. There is a high probability that it is a divine emperor. There is a god king between the Yang god and the god emperor. Have you thought it through? Ye Chen said calmly. He glanced at the 2 corpses with slightly complicated expressions and concluded that they were killed by him. This is the first time in his life that he has killed someone. Senior, I am from the Sidu family. My father, King Southwest, is a super master of the 8th level of the God Emperor. Our Sidu family has millions of elite soldiers. Sidu Ren mustered up his courage and said. Cutting off his tongue and committing suicide was hard for him to accept. Ye Chen sat down and poured himself a cup of tea. He took a sip of tea and said quietly, Sidu Ren, I didn't kill you directly to give face to your Sidu family. Don't be shameless. If you don't take action before I finish drinking this cup of tea, I will kill you and silence you. Sidu Ren felt cold in his heart. The other party has already killed 2 of his men, so it is entirely possible to kill him and silence him. Senior, I really didn't know you had such strength. What do you think if I compensate you? Threats didn't work, Sidu Ren begged for mercy. He cursed inwardly. What is a God Emperor level expert doing in the Tianxian Tower? Never shy? Ye Chen ignored Sidu Ren. He drank the tea leisurely. It only took 5 minutes to finish it at his speed. 4 minutes passed quickly. There was only a little bit of tea left in Ye Chen's teacup. In the past few minutes, Sidu Ren thought of various ways, begging for mercy and making promises, etc., but it was all in vain. Senior, I accept it. Sidu Ren was desperate, a sword energy burst out in his mouth, and his tongue was cut off directly by his own sword energy. He can barely bear this. The next second, Sidu Ren's eyes widened, blood spurted out of his crotch, and his pants were stained red. He screamed in pain. Because the tongue is gone, the sound is weird. Young man, keep a low profile from now on. Sooner or later you will be in trouble because of your family background. Ye Chen finished his cup of tea and stood up. Sidu Ren lowered his head and did not dare to look at Ye Chen, worried that Ye Chen would see the uncontrollable resentment in his eyes. After leaving the room, Ye Chen quickly returned to Tianyan Emperor's palace. He has the holy hidden cloak to cover his aura, coupled with the art of transformation, plus his current advanced level of cultivation. It is impossible for Xuanhuan to detect him. Dr. Shui, pick me up quickly. Sidu Ren quickly went to a doctor he was familiar with. His tongue and the stuff were connected and still working. Sidu Ren's status is unusual, and the Tianyan Empire is not yet ready for a civil war. Time until the next day. Early in the morning, several eunuchs from Yangzin Palace arrived at Fengming Palace. The Empress Dowager plans to go to the Holy Buddha Temple to pray for His Majesty's safety. I don't know if the Emperor and Empress are willing to go. If you are willing, you can forget it if you don't. The leading eunuch seemed to be respectful. Ye Chen sneered in his heart, it's coming. The Holy Buddha Temple is not only outside the palace, but also outside Tianyan Imperial City, hundreds of kilometers away from Tianyan Imperial City. If the Queen Mother sincerely went to pray for blessings, it would not be a big problem. The Queen Mother and the Emperor are dispatched together, and there must be many experts guarding them, so they will not give the enemy a chance. But since Prince Mu and the others are planning to capture him alive, something might happen to the Queen Mother along the way. The Queen Mother will return at that time. Take away some of the masters. Did he move on or return with the Queen Mother? As the Empress, he and the Empress Dowager went to pray together. Both of them failed to pray and returned, which was extremely ominous. Tisk, tisk, what a trick. Ye Chen secretly praised in his heart. Luo Hongjian's imperial chariot is on a personal expedition. The Queen Mother is so old and has come so far to pray for blessings. How can he not go? If he really only has the acquired level of cultivation, and he doesn't know about the calculations of Prince Mu and others, he will definitely not escape. This eunuch, please go back and tell the Queen Mother that I will leave on time with the Queen Mother. Ye Chen smiled. I sneaked out of the palace last night, and I was in trouble when I was discovered. It's rare that Prince Mu and the Queen Mother gave him such an opportunity. He can go out of the palace openly. Ye Chen plans to go back to his hometown. His hometown is in the south of Tianyang dynasty. The Tianyang dynasty has a population of 10 billion and a vast territory. It took him a long time to get from his hometown to the imperial city. Now that he is powerful, the speed can be increased by 10 times. It only takes 2 or 3 hours to get from Tianyang imperial city to his hometown. Yes, Empress. Several eunuchs left. Half an hour later, Ye Chen and others left the Tianyang imperial palace with great fanfare. A total of 4,000 Black Dragon guards were dispatched. 4 powerful men at the level of the Divine Emperor were dispatched. Normally, when Luo Hongjian left the palace, at most 5,000 Black Dragon guards would be dispatched. If the Queen Mother or the Emperor and Empress left the palace alone, at most 2,000 would be dispatched. These are all regulated. Now that the Queen Mother and Ye Chen left together, it was already a luxury to dispatch 4,000 Black Dragon guards. I heard that the Queen Mother and the Emperor and Empress left the palace to pray for His Majesty. Your Majesty will definitely be fine. With the strength of our Tianyang dynasty, we will definitely win. Thousands of people left the city in a mighty manner. A large number of people watched. This was also the effect that the Queen Mother and others wanted. She did plan to leave in the middle of the journey if something happened. If she left in a mighty manner, it would be difficult for Ye Chen to follow her back. Go, go. Ye Chen and his team moved forward quickly. Half an hour passed. Change. Ye Chen instantly turned into an insignificant little bug, and he quickly left the Phoenix chariot. The 4 God Emperor level strongmen did not find anything unusual. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Did. Chapter 77. Stop. One of the 4 powerful God Emperor level men who were escorting him raised his voice. This person is Shen Kuo, the deputy commander of the Black Dragon Guards. The Black Dragon Guards were the best among the best. Shen Kuo ordered the running team to stop quickly. Vice Commander Shen, why did you stop? Queen Mother Du raised the curtain and said. She frowned secretly. Could it be that Shen Kuo discovered something unusual? But the place of action they arranged is not here, and she hasn't returned yet. Shen Kuo bowed to the Queen Mother and said, to inform the Queen Mother, there seems to be something unusual in the Queen Mother's Phoenix chariot. I can't hear the Empress breathing. Empress. Shen Kuo approached Ye Chen's Phoenix chariot and called out, but there was no response from the Phoenix chariot. Chunlin and the others followed. Immediately Chunlin and the others boarded the Phoenix chariot and opened the curtain. This. Chunlin and the others were shocked. There was no one in the Phoenix chariot. The Emperor and Empress are missing. Shen Kuo and the others' expressions changed drastically. The Emperor and the Empress disappeared under their protection. This is no small matter. Reporting to the Queen Mother, the Queen Mother is missing. Shen Kuo said in great shock. He has the 6th level of cultivation of the God Emperor and is powerful, but he did not find anyone entering the Phoenix chariot to take away Ye Chen. Queen Mother Du felt a little strange. Could it be that Prince Mu and the others had found someone more powerful to take action in advance? Holding her stomach, she felt bad all over. She just took a poison. Of course this poison won't kill her, but it will make her very uncomfortable and difficult to treat. If Ye Chen had been kidnapped by their people, her suffering would be in vain. On the way back, pay attention to any clues and be sure to find the Emperor and Empress. Queen Mother Du said sharply. Yes, Queen Mother. Shen Kuo and the others said in unison, if something like this happened, it would be impossible to pray for blessings again. In the sky, Ye Chen moved straight forward. The road from my hometown to the imperial city was very tortuous. Avoid horse thieves, avoid monsters, just a little problem can delay a lot of time. Ye Chen now passes directly through areas where monsters gather. If there really is a blind monster looking for him, one strike with the golden cudgel can make the opponent disappear into ashes. 2.5 hours later, Ye Chen landed from the sky. He arrived at the entrance of Yejia village. More than 10 years ago, Yejiakan encountered horse thieves and suffered heavy casualties. Now it is finally recovering its strength. Ye Chen changed his appearance and walked towards the village step by step. His expression was a little complicated. He lived quite well in the village before he was 8 years old. His parents in this life loved him very much, and some people in Yejia village treated him well. The killing of horse thieves changed everything drastically. He had to leave the village to make a living. Hey, second uncle. Ye Chen saw an acquaintance. When he was a child, his second uncle Yedahai was pretty good to him. Yedahai escaped when he went hunting. Young boy, are you looking for someone? Yedahai came closer and said while smoking a dry cigarette. Ye Chen quickly bowed. Old man, I am Ye Chen's friend. I passed by here and know that this is his hometown. Come and have a look. Yedahai's eyes lit up. Young man, you know Chen Yazi, but do you know Chen Yazi's mother-in-law? She is very beautiful and kind-hearted. Everyone's life changed for the better when she came to our place. The children can all go to school to study. Ye Chen was stunned for a moment. His mother-in-law. Luo Hongjian is the only woman he has, and Luo Hongjian is the empress. Isn't it possible to come here secretly? Master, what's her name? Yedahai shook his head and said, the old man doesn't know her name either. He only knows that she is Miss Hong. She went to the village to pay homage to Chen Yazi's parents, left a lot of money and left. Many people in the village have never met her, and they all want to thank her in person. Ye Chen felt warm in his heart. Red girl, that must be Luo Hongjian. As the empress, Luo Hongjian would be in danger if she left the imperial city, yet she actually came here to worship. Old man, wherever the graves of Marvin's parents are, I will also go and pay my respects. Ye Chen said. Of course he knew where his parents' graves were, but Yedahai would be suspicious if he went there directly. Okay, come with the old man. Yedahai brought Ye Chen to his parents' graves, and Ye Chen was stunned. It used to be just 2 simple earthen tombs, but now the 2 tombs here are very impressive. Miss Hong asked someone to fix this. It cost a lot of money. It's a pity that Miss Hong said that Tatsuyako has something to do and can't return. Otherwise, he would be happy to see this. Yedahai smoked the dry pipe. Ye Chen knelt down and kowtowed several times respectfully. Old man, here are 100 taels of silver notes. Could you please help me buy some incense and candles as offerings? Ye Chen took out a banknote and said. 100 taels of silver notes was already a huge amount of money for the villagers. He did not dare to take out more for fear of scaring Yedahai. Young boy, put it away quickly. How can some sacrifices require so much money? The village has become so good thanks to Tatsuyako and his wife. Why don't you ask for your money for a small sacrifice? The old man must not have his spine chopped off. After Yedahai finished speaking, he hurried down the mountain to prepare the sacrifices. Ye Chen collected the banknote. Just give more when you leave. Not only Yedahai, but everyone else with whom you have a good relationship in the past should give some. Dad, Mom, I was thinking that I would have the chance to bring Hanjian to see you later. I didn't expect Hanjian to have come first. Are you satisfied with this daughter-in-law? Ye Chen said softly while sitting beside the grave. His feelings for Luo Hanjian deepened a lot. As the Empress, it was good enough that Luo Hanjian could take the initiative to order the eradication of the horse thieves. She actually did all this in secret. And Luo Hanjian did all this without telling him. Ye Dahai called a few guys to bring offerings soon. One of them was Ye Chen's childhood playmate. Grandpa, brothers, thank you. If there is any need for me in the village now, just speak up. Ye Chen bowed and smiled. Ye Hua, Ye Chen's childhood playmate, hesitated. Ye Chen looked at Ye Hua quickly. If there is anything, just speak up. I should be able to help. With the strength of the emperor, he has such confidence. Ye Hua said, a few days ago, I saw someone sneaking into the village. That guy is not a good person at first glance. I told my second uncle and others, and they told me not to think too much. Ye Chen's eyes flashed. His hometown is no secret to Prince Mu and others. It is entirely possible that the enemy sent people to inquire here. If this problem is not solved, Ye Dahai and others may be in trouble in the future. Do you still remember what the other party looks like? Ye Chen asked. Ye Hua was deeply impressed by that person. He described him in detail, and Ye Chen's powerful consciousness quickly spread out. In a very short time, his consciousness covered hundreds of kilometers. Soon, Ye Chen's consciousness locked onto a scarred young man. This guy completely fits Ye Hua's description. Xingai level cultivation, it should be this guy. Ye Chen muttered in his heart, and the scarred young man was reporting the news to the others at this time. The other party's Ninjiang level cultivation. In a small place, let alone Ninjiang level characters, even Xingai level characters are already very powerful. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Di. Chapter 78. In Juxiao continent, those who are above the Xiantian star gathering level can already be regarded as small masters. The Xingai level is enough to establish a family and create a small sect. Ningyang is already a complete master. It is not easy for ordinary people to get in touch with the powerful people in the Ningyang realm. Sir, I deliberately sneaked to Yejia village as you requested, but no strong person showed up. Scar Youth report. His name is Wu Zhaiming, and the strong man in the condensing Yang realm in front of him is called Duanmiji. Wu Zhaiming has a Xingai level of cultivation. How could he be found abnormal in an ordinary village? Duanmiji did this to test whether there was a strong person guarding Yejiakan secretly. Duanmiji and the others were not from Prince Mu, the Sidu family or the Ota Empire. They were from a killer organization called Xuanhuan. The owner of the Blood Rain Tower is a strong person at the Yangshen level. Someone placed an order in the Blood Rain Tower and asked them to massacre everyone in Yejia village. Then they dug up the graves of Ye Chen's parents and crushed the bones into ashes. The owner of the Black Sand Gang's Bloody Rain knew that it was the palace guards who killed him. He didn't want to take this order. However, the other party gave too much. If this vote is taken, it will be worth 10 years of normal income. In the end, Xuanhuan took over the task. They did not act in a hurry, but let people secretly test to see if there was any strong person hiding here. If there is no problem in the test, there will be more powerful people coming to the Blood Rain Tower. They must come. The graves of Ye Chen's parents are arranged with a formation, and it is impossible for people with low strength to dig the graves. No one followed you here. There should be no strong people guarding here. Duan Mu's Hideo. Wu Zhaiming is a guinea pig, and so is he. If something goes wrong with such a mission, the consequences will be too great. Blood Rain Tower must ensure that everything is foolproof. Sir, the test has been going on for so long, right? While Luo Hongjian has now gone to the border, we should make a quick decision so that there will be no trace of her when she comes back. Wu Haiming said ferociously. Duanmiji stood up. I will leave now and report the news. There will be heavy rain tonight, which is a good time to kill. The poster is likely to take action. Ye Chen's eyes flashed with cold light. Although he didn't know Duanmiji's specific plan, Ye Chen could tell from their words that their target was Yejia village. Even if Yejiakan is a little richer now, it is impossible to attract Ningyang level experts to take action for money. To deal with Yejiakan, it must be a massacre. Leaving some money for Ye Dahai and others, Ye Chen left quietly. Duanmiji and the others were dozens of kilometers away from Ye Chen, but Ye Chen arrived at them in about a minute. Duanmiji has left, but Wu Haiming is still there. What kind of force are you from? Ye Chen said softly, and he instantly hypnotized Wu Haiming. Blood Rain Tower. Wu Haiming looked dull. Ye Chen frowned secretly, never heard of it. In the past, he only had an acquired level of cultivation, not much better than ordinary people, and had never heard of the Blood Rain Tower. There are no records in the books I read after entering the palace. Bloody Rain Tower is not up to par. What kind of force is Blood Rain Tower, and what is the strength of your owner? Wu Haiming said numbly, Suo Tower is a killer organization, and our owner is a third-level Yangshen warrior. The third-level strongman of Yangshen in the world is already a very powerful person. Blood Rain Tower has a terrible reputation for many people. What is your mission? Our mission is to massacre Yejia village, dig out the bones of Empress Yechen's parents, crush them and scatter them into ashes. Wu Haiming's words made Ye Chen furious. Although he had made speculations before coming here, he still couldn't suppress the anger in his heart when he heard what Wu Haiming said. Suolu not only wanted to kill people, but also dug his parents' graves. Are there any others here? Ye Chen said coldly. No. As soon as Wu Haiming finished speaking, his body lit up with flames. In an instant, he was turned into nothingness by the sun god's fire. Following Duanmiji silently, Ye Chen arrived at a secret stronghold in Blood Rain Tower half an hour later. There are even more powerful people in Blood Rain Tower here. But the owner of Blood Rain Tower is not here. After Duanmiji communicated with the other party spread the news, and the owner of the Blood Rain Tower rushed over in the middle of the night. He brought a dozen powerful killers from Blood Rain Tower. Owner. See the original poster. Duanmiji and the others saluted quickly. After confirming the opponent's identity, Ye Chen appeared, and he immediately placed a powerful formation barrier around him. Who? Duanmiji and the others' sharp eyes immediately fell on Ye Chen. The face of the owner of the Blood Rain Tower changed drastically. Ye Chen appeared silently. He was probably stronger than him. Bang! Without any hesitation, the owner of Xuanhuan used the blood escape technique. His head hit the barrier, making stars appear in his eyes. Everyone, be quiet. Ye Chen's voice sounded. Immediately, the host of Blood Rain and others became quiet. They were all hypnotized by Ye Chen instantly. Ye Chen is a strong man with emperor-level strength, and he can easily hypnotize Blood Rain host and a dozen of them. Master of Blood Rain, why do you want to kill people from Yejia village? Ye Chen asked. The owner of Suo Hall said with a dull expression, a mysterious strong man gave us 5 million taels of silver to carry out this task. Ye Chen frowned secretly. It seemed that the owner of Suo Tower didn't know the other party's identity. This was difficult to determine. From the fact that the other party wanted to dig up the bones of his parents, the other party should have a grudge against him, but he had many enemies. There were Prince Mu, the Situ family, and the 6 major paper-making families in China. Several major grain merchants were also possible. Abroad, the royal family of the Oda Empire and the Thousand Islands must want to kill him, and it was also possible that the southern Zhao kingdom would take action. 5 million taels of silver was a lot for Xuanhuan Tower, but it was not difficult for these forces to take it out. You, give an order for all the people in Xuanhuan Tower to gather here. Ye Chen said indifferently. Yes. The owner of Xuanhuan Tower quickly issued an order. 2 hours later, all the people in Xuanhuan Tower gathered. There were a total of about 100 people. There were not many people, but those with low cultivation also had Xingai level strength. The overall strength of Xuanhuan Tower was quite strong. You, commit suicide. Ye Chen hypnotized, and the weapons of the owner of Xuanhuan Tower and others killed themselves without hesitation. In the blink of an eye, all the hundreds of people including the Blood Rain Tower Master fell in a pool of blood. Ugh! Ye Chen retched. Although he had killed people before, killing hundreds of people at once was a huge shock to him. But Ye Chen knew that he must pass the level of killing. No matter how strong you are, if you don't dare to kill the enemy, then the strength of the saint level is useless. After a while, Ye Chen finally recovered. People die for money, birds die for food, and death as a killer is your fate. Ye Chen muttered to himself. These people deserve to be killed. I'll keep this money for you. Ye Chen's consciousness found that they all had silver bills on them, and all the silver bills added up to nearly 6 million taels. This is a huge sum of money. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Did. Chapter 79. Receive. The weapons of hundreds of killers were collected by Ye Chen into his space treasure. He returned to Yejia village. The heavy rain was still falling, and the sky and the earth were pitch black. Go, go. Ye Chen took action. Hundreds of weapons obtained from hundreds of killers flew out one after another, and they all went into the ground. Finally, Ye Chen took out a sea-level treasure that he got by signing in. This sea-level treasure was a sword, and under Ye Chen's control it instantly entered the formation. The formation is completed. All treasures are invisible and disappear. The entire Yejia village, and even some areas around the village, were enveloped by the formation arranged by Ye Chen. The center of the formation uses sea-level treasures, plus the other 100 weapons, and Ye Chen's superb formation skills. The formation set up by Ye Chen is enough to kill an average God Emperor level figure. As long as the enemy enters the formation area and exudes murderous aura, the formation will be activated to kill the enemy. Father, Mother, I will come back to see you later. After kowtowing a few times in front of his parents' graves, Ye Chen left quickly and headed for the border. Luo Hanjian's own strength is not weak. There are several God Emperor level experts around her, and Eunuch Lu is also beside her. Normally nothing will happen to her, but she feels more reassured when she goes over to see Ye Chen. Killing. Early in the morning, frightened screams could be heard from afar near the Xuanhuan Tower stronghold. The door to the Bloody Rain Tower stronghold was open, and there were many corpses lying in the yard. The government officials arrived soon. Hundreds of people died. This is a major case. The iron catcher seems to be from the Blood Rain Tower. Someone among the policemen exclaimed. It is difficult for ordinary people to come into contact with the people in Xuanhuan Tower, but as detectives, they know more about this aspect. Bloody Rain Tower does not commit crimes once or twice. The government knows what some people in the Blood Rain Tower look like, but they just know that it is not easy to catch them. People from Blood Rain Tower. The iron catcher quickly inspected it carefully, and soon a look of shock appeared in his eyes. Judging from the condition of the corpse, one of them should have a cultivation level of Yang Shen. Is this the mysterious owner of the Blood Rain Tower, Xuanhuan Kang? The iron catcher was in disbelief. A strong man at the Yang Shen level died here, and so many people in the Blood Rain Tower died together. They seem to have killed themselves. Iron captor, they must have been hypnotized. With so many people hypnotized at the same time, the other party's strength is unfathomable. We may not be able to investigate this case. Another agent said in horror. The iron catcher nodded solemnly. At the same time, so many strong men are hypnotized to commit suicide. God King level masters with lower strength may not have such ability. Soon the iron catcher reported it. He estimated that this case would probably go unsolved, and the person who died would not be a good person anyway. If you find out, you might even get a bonus. Half a day later, hundreds of kilometers away, in a martial arts gym run by Japanese people, the owner Fujita Saburo was having lunch. Someone arrived in a hurry. "Sir, something happened to the people in Xuanhuan Tower. All the hundreds of people in Xuanhuan Tower died. They died together. They all committed suicide. There was no pain on their faces." The visitor hurriedly reported. Saburo Fujita's expression suddenly changed. The strength of the Blood Rain Tower is not weak. For the entire army to be wiped out like this, there must be a top expert taking action. Puff. The person in front of him was silenced instantly by Fujita Saburo. He covered his neck in disbelief. "Sorry, the news cannot be leaked," Fujita Saburo said solemnly. The order for Xuanhuan Tower was placed by the top expert in his family. This confidant is closer to Yejia village and is trying to get information from that side. The strong men in the Blood Rain Tower don't know who placed the order, so the enemy shouldn't come looking for them. Saburo Fujita thought to himself. To the west of Tianyang dynasty, Luo Hongjian went on a personal expedition, and 5 million soldiers of the Tianyang dynasty directly entered the Xiongnu interior. Thousands of miles of slaughter. The number of Huns dead has exceeded 1 million. Judging from the posture of Luo Hongjian and the others, they seemed to want to directly enter the royal court of the Xiongnu Empire. The Huns were a little panicked. They wanted to make Tianyang dynasty bow their heads through killing, and wanted to obtain a large amount of food from Tianyang dynasty. But they didn't want to fight to the end with the Tianyang dynasty. Luo Hongjian is the empress, but her attitude is so tough. As a last resort, the Huns had no choice but to send envoys. The goal is to sum up. "Looks like you're late." Ye Chen muttered in his heart that when he arrived, Luo Hongjian and the Huns envoy had already signed a peace treaty. The Huns ceded thousands of miles of pasture. Compensation is 10 million taels of silver. It's finally over. Luo Hongjian breathed a sigh of relief. The battle did not last long, but people continued to die during the battle, which made her feel tired. That guy Ye Chen must be lying next to the big willow tree and basking in the sun right now. As long as he's comfortable. Luo Hongjian muttered. After being separated for a few days in the imperial palace, I didn't feel it. Now the distance is far away, and Luo Hongjian misses her in her heart. Report. Your Majesty, there is a strong man coming from the palace. Someone hurriedly entered the military tent. Let people in. Luo Hongjian ordered, wondering in her heart, why would a strong man come to the palace at this time? It didn't take long for her to be out. Soon someone entered the military tent. He is a powerful member of the Black Dragon Guards, with the 9th level of cultivation of the God King. Your Majesty, the Queen Mother invited the Emperor and Empress to go to the Holy Buddha Temple to pray for blessings, but the Emperor and Empress disappeared on the way. After searching for a while, they were not found. The Emperor and Empress are now missing. The visitor said anxiously. What? Luo Hongjian's face changed drastically. She immediately judged that it must be the Queen Mother and others who were playing tricks. The Queen Mother prayed for herself? Nonsense. They are not that close. Ye Chen, you are usually very smart, how did you fall into such a trap? Luo Hongjian was in a state of confusion. If Ye Chen fell into the hands of Prince Mu and others, the chance of survival would be very slim. The Black Dragon guards will gather immediately and return to the imperial city. Luo Hongjian quickly passed down the order, and she was in a hurry to go back. The war here has ended. When the millions of troops come, there will naturally be generals to lead them back to their respective garrisons. Ye Chen was nearby, and he quickly noticed the unusual movements of the Black Dragon guards. The man just now came from the palace. He should have come to tell Hongjian about my disappearance. Ye Chen said in his heart. Judging from the fact that Luo Hongjian quickly mobilized the army to prepare to return to Tianyang Imperial City, he has a good position in Luo Hongjian's heart. 10 kilometers away, Ye Chen showed up. Ye Chen was discovered by the Tianyang dynasty's strong man's spiritual sense at the first time, and the other party was stunned and couldn't believe it. How did the Emperor and Empress suddenly appear nearby? Your Majesty, it seems that the Emperor and Empress appeared, but the other party has the cultivation of the first level of innateness. I don't know whether it is true or not. The strong man immediately sent a message to Luo Hongjian. Luo Hongjian's spiritual sense spread instantly. In the blink of an eye, she saw Ye Chen. It's Ye Chen. Luo Hongjian quickly brought some people to Ye Chen's place. A mere 10 kilometers was very short for them. Your Majesty, it is definitely the Emperor and Empress, not the other strong men in disguise. The commander of the Imperial Guards beside Luo Hongjian said, he is a strong man of the 9th level of the Divine Emperor, with strong strength. Ye Chen, why are you here? Luo Hongjian flew in front of Ye Chen, her clothes fluttering, like a goddess descending to the earth. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Di. Chapter 80. Ye Chen sighed and said, Hongjian, yesterday the Queen Mother made an appointment to go to the Holy Buddha Temple to pray, but I fainted halfway. Wake up and it's already here. Luo Hongjian suddenly thought. According to what Ye Chen said, Ye Chen should have been captured by the strong men of the Xiongnu Empire, but the other party brought Ye Chen here. The Xiongnu Empire had already sued for peace, so there was no need to capture Ye Chen anymore. As long as you're okay. By the way, your cultivation level. Luo Hongjian looked at Ye Chen in surprise. Ye Chen's cultivation was already at the innate level. Although it is still very bad, the innate level is much stronger than the acquired level. Innate level longevity can reach up to 200 years. Ye Chen grinned and said, maybe he was scared, but it was a blessing in disguise that he broke through the realm and reached the innate level. The acquired level of cultivation has been struggling for so long, it's time to improve it a little. The acquired level has always been easy to be suspected. There are indeed many cases of breakthroughs in cultivation in desperation. Luo Hongjian nodded. Sorry. Ye Chen was stunned. Luo Hongjian apologized to him. Hongjian, why do you say that? Luo Hongjian said solemnly, you are my empress. If something happens to you, it is my responsibility. You almost died, so I should say sorry to you. Ye Chen sighed in his heart, his wife is really good. Although he didn't have a girlfriend in his previous life, he had a lot of short videos. How many girlfriends have admitted they were wrong? If there is no reason to make trouble, if there is reason, go to heaven. As the Empress, Luo Hongjian, if she doesn't apologize, who can force her to do so? Hongjian, please stop saying I'm sorry and give me a hug. Ye Chen smiled and opened his arms. The few strong men who followed Luo Hongjian here turned their heads and looked in other directions. Luo Hongjian hesitated a little and hugged Ye Chen together. Ye Chen almost died after being captured, and in Luo Hongjian's opinion, he needed to be comforted. Yeah, it smells good. Ye Chen hugged Luo Hongjian tightly and took a deep breath in Luo Hongjian's hair. Okay, let's get ready to go back to the palace. After hugging her for half a minute, Luo Hongjian said. She knew that if she didn't speak, Ye Chen wouldn't let go of her even if he held her for half an hour. Good. Ye Chen reluctantly let go of Luo Hongjian. His wife felt so comfortable in her arms that he didn't want to let go. Luo Hongjian had already ordered to return to the palace. Although Ye Chen was back, the order would not be revoked. A few minutes later, huge warships took off and left. Hongjian, what level of cultivation are you at now? Ye Chen asked. He could directly tell that Luo Hongjian's cultivation was already at the 9th level of the God King, but he had to pretend. The 9th level of the God King. Luo Hongjian's face turned slightly red as she spoke, and she looked out the window. She had promised Ye Chen before that they would consummate their marriage when they reached the level of God Emperor. The 9th level of the God King is only one step away from the level of the God Emperor. Of course, this step is not that easy to take. Many powerful 9th level God Kings have been stuck in this realm their entire lives, unable to break through to the God King level. Hongjian, with the cultivation level of the 9th level of the God King, that is close to the level of the God King, he. Ye Chen said with a smile. Look at your appearance. Luo Hongjian rolled her eyes at Ye Chen. Ye Chen, the Queen Mother asked you to go out to pray for blessings, so you went out to pray for blessings. Why are you so stupid? Fortunately, you were caught by the strong men of the Hun's Empire this time, otherwise it would be even worse. Luo Hongjian changed the subject and looked serious. At first, she didn't care whether Ye Chen, the Empress, died or not, but now she didn't want anything to happen to Ye Chen. Ye Chen said with a smile, I believe in Jiren Tianxiang, do you think I'm okay? Not only is my cultivation alright, but I have also broken through to the innate level. Luo Hongjian stared at Ye Chen, feeling warm in her heart. She felt that Ye Chen must have known that there were risks in leaving the palace, and Ye Chen must have really wanted to pray for her when he left the palace. Don't do such stupid things in the future. I am very powerful and it is not easy for me to get into trouble. With your strength, it is easy for things to happen. Luo Hongjian warned. Ye Chen nodded repeatedly, you must listen to your wife. The returning warships did not move at full speed. It took 2 days for the huge warships to return to Tianyang Imperial City. Your Majesty is mighty, Your Majesty is mighty. The battleship flew through the sky, and countless people in Tianyang Imperial City roared with excitement. The battle report had been sent back before the battleship returned. It was a great victory against the Huns. Millions of enemies were wiped out, and the Huns ceded thousands of miles of pasture. In addition, the Huns will compensate another tens of millions of taels of silver. In the past, the Huns often sued for peace, and the people were eager for such a victory. Well. Luo Hongjian looked at the people below and sighed slightly. This battle was indeed won, and on the surface it was a beautiful victory. But after all, this battle is a loss. The Tianyang dynasty sent out 5 million troops, and the cost was more than 10 million taels of silver. The people of the Tianyang dynasty would not graze on the thousands of miles of grassland ceded by the Huns. From now on, it only belongs to the Tianyang dynasty. As for annihilating millions of enemies, many of them were the old, weak, sick, and disabled of the Huns. They relied on this method to eliminate the population. In previous years, when the Huns provoked provocations, the Tianyang dynasty avoided war and sought peace. Many times they felt that this was not a good deal. The national treasury may not be able to support it. This time Luo Hongjian was able to directly send 5 million troops domineeringly, which had a lot to do with the filling of the national treasury. Hongjian, if you come back victorious from the imperial conquest, the throne will be much more stable. Prince Mu should be sad. Ye Chen chuckled. Luo Hongjian's eyes flashed. Ye Chen, Prince Mu, and others plotted against you, I will settle the accounts with them. The battleship landed in the palace, 30,000 black dragon guards left the ship, and Ye Chen and the others also arrived at the Purple Dragon Palace. Your Majesty, Deputy Commander Shen Kuo and others would like to see you. Nangong Ningdao. Xian. Luo Hongjian said in a deep voice. Shen Kuo and other 4 powerful men at the level of God Emperor entered the Purple Dragon Palace, and they all knelt on the ground. Ye Chen was taken away silently. Although he is back now, they know that they still have a great responsibility. Your Majesty, I know I was wrong. The 4 God Emperor level experts felt uneasy. Luo Hongjian exuded a strong imperial aura, and she was obviously very angry. Luo Hongjian said with an indifferent expression, Deputy Commander Shen Kuo, what are you guilty of? I am far away and the Queen Mother is right next to you. Of course you have to listen to the Queen Mother. Shen Kuo and the others' expressions changed drastically. Luo Hongjian's words were heartbreaking. This means that they listened to the Queen Mother and deliberately let people take the Queen Mother away. Ye Chen was present, and he looked at Shen Kuo and the others calmly. Shen Kuo and the others have lived a long time, and they are not stupid people to have reached such a level of cultivation. It is impossible for Shen Kuo and the others not to know what the Queen Mother has planned when she asks him to go out. But even though they knew something was likely to go wrong, they took no special action. They were afraid of offending the Queen Mother. Your Majesty, have mercy. Your Majesty, spare your life. Shen Kuo and others kowtowed and confessed, but they did not defend themselves. The facts were in front of them, and their defense was useless. Luo Hongjian looked at Ye Chen. Empress, how do you think they should be punished? Shen Kuo and the others looked at Ye Chen begging for mercy. Whether they can pass this level depends on what Ye Chen says.